To tell you the whole truth, there's still parts of my truth I still wrestle with. Culturally, I want to be the good immigrant daughter and be everything my mother has ever wanted me to be, which just happens to be gay. To understand me is to understand where I come from. I come from a beautiful, traditional, Catholic Filipino family. We had immigrated here about 20 or so years ago, and with that came its own growing pains. My mother realized that she couldn't bring every tradition or practice from the old country to this new country. So she raised us with an open mind, the understanding that there needed to be growth and understanding in the land of opportunity. And my mother was an opportunist. She was eager to grow, learn, and assimilate, and I was just a guinea pig to it all. Unprovoked and at random at times, she would come up to me and she would go, "Kim, just tell me you're gay. I'm going to love you anyway." It started out as young as middle school, where during 8th grade dances, I would choose to wear pants. It would carry itself into high school, where all my friends were boy crazy, and I was just focused on watching Naruto Shippuden. And then it would carry itself year after year, when I would never mention a boy or try to bring one home to the family. That sentiment is really sweet coming from a Catholic Filipino mom. I understood where she was coming from. Growing up, people thought my mother had 2 sons and my sister. I refused to wear skirts and dresses. I'd rather be a Pokemon trainer than a Sailor Moon. And I would cry anytime I would be treated differently than my brother. I didn't have the words to describe what feminism was. I just knew that I wanted to grow up with dirt underneath my fingertips and the freedom from the construct of polite society. But my mother really tried. My mother really tried to raise a good Filipina daughter, one that was quiet, that was compliant, and in hope I would make a good wife to someone else's son. But she was also preparing for the inevitable, my coming out story. Coming out is a scary and daunting moment in any individual's life where the truth can change a lot of things. A testament to the depth of what unconditional love was. My mother wanted me to know that if I chose to baptize myself in the truth, that she was going to be there for me every step of the way. The irony of everything is that my mother was never ready for my truth. That being that I am undeniably not gay. My mother thought I was being held captive in this figurative closet, but in reality, I was just a girl who was neurodivergent, who had an aversion to certain clothing textures, the color pink, and societal expectations. I thought one of the luxuries and pseudo-privileges of being a hetero cis woman was that I was never going to come out to anyone. But surely life had different plans for me. There isn't a Degrassi episode or a rom-com that teaches you how to come out straight to your mom. So I kind of just had to figure that out on my own. It all came to head one day when it was my sister's birthday and we were all eating out at a restaurant. I can imagine what was going through my mother's mind that led her to her boiling point. She saw my brother with his now wife, my sister with her then boyfriend, my best friend with her now husband, and she saw herself with her husband of over 30 years. And then there was me, a woman in her mid-20s with no marriage prospects and an affinity for flannel shirts. In the midst of that dinner scene, we were just bantering and enjoying one's company, and then I can feel my mother's eyes begin to hone in on me. Unprovoked, yet this time exclaiming in front of the entire restaurant, she goes, "Kim, just tell me you're gay. I'm going to love you anyway." Silence befell the entire restaurant. But I can tell you no one was surprised. No one at the table was surprised. I can't speak for the entire restaurant, but I knew my family was just holding back their giggles. But I can feel that moment feel different for me. It felt like a mosquito that had too much of its fill at my own expense, and I was tired of it. I decided to clap back and yell back at my mom, "Mom, I'm not gay, but if it makes you feel any better, I'm kind of a slut." That was really brave of me to say. silence that fell the second time at that table was different than the first one. This was a different breed of silence. This was the kind of ethnic silence where you could feel your ancestors begin to shift in their graves. This was the kind of ethnic silence where you know God started cutting ties from me. That if I cried for help at that very moment, he would have disconnected the line and said, "New phone, who this?" For the wrath of my mother was upon us, and he wanted to be on her good side. Seconds that went by like hours as I waited in bated breath. And then she finally goes, "That's okay. I'm going to love you anyway." But you could tell that not everyone was happy about my lifestyle decision. You can hear my father in the background go, "I'd rather you be gay." To tell you the whole truth, there's still parts of my truth I still wrestle with. Culturally, I want to be the good immigrant daughter and be everything my mother has ever wanted me to be, which just happens to be gay. Because what if she's right? What if at 28 I haven't experienced my second sexual awakening, it hasn't come into fruition, and I just haven't met that right individual to explore that part of me? My favorite part about storytelling is the build-up. I imagine my second coming out story, a way to build the closet into a mansion, like a genie inviting the wish maker into the bottle. I would wait till the very last minute to invite my mother in. Not out of spite, but because I love that woman so much. I would use that ounce of truth like a Hail Mary pass. I imagine our last moments together, I by her bedside, her hand in mine, in the quiet solemn of the inevitable. I whisper into her ear and I go, "Mom, you were right all along. I am gay." Tee. Hoping that I could buy us more time, selfishly ending the moment in mirth and satisfaction, and just so I can selfishly hear her say one last time, "It's okay. I'm going to love you anyway."